Hi computer scientists, Mr. Stafford here, and today I want to show you Unit 3, Lesson 10, Manipulating Elements in an Array. The first level, they've already initialized a couple of variables for us, and what we need to do is write a nested loop that prints a countdown from 10 to 1 twice, and then after printing the final countdown, print I love CS. So what it's wanting us to do is it says in these comments, in the outer loop, print countdown plus I, so concatenating I. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a while loop. So I'm going to say while, and then since I'm concatenating I want to use this variable of I, and I want to do this 2 times. I want the outer loop to run 2 times. And so I is being initialized to 1, and looking at the variables that they've already initialized, count is initialized to 3. So if I have 1 is less than 3 in a while loop, that is going to run 2 times. So instead of using 3, I'm going to use the variable of count. Okay. And so I don't forget to increment my variable of I do that right off the bat. So I'm going to go I plus plus and get above it, okay? And what I'm supposed to do is print, it says in the outer loop, print countdown plus I. So I'm going to say system.out.println countdown, and then concatenate I onto it, okay? And then it's saying in the inner loop, print the numbers 10 to 1. So I'm going to do a for loop for this. None of the variables are initialized to 10, so I'm going to create my own variable for int j is going to be equal to 10. I'm going to start at 10 because I want to print 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 all the way to 1. So I start at 10, and then I want j, I'm looking at the other variable that they've initialized, which is num, and num is initialized to 0. So I want j to be greater than 0, num, greater than 0, or greater than num. And then what I'm going to do with j is decrement it. So I want to do j minus minus. Since I'm trying to print out 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 all the way to 1, I need to do system.out.print line, and I'm going to print out j. And I'm going to run this just to see what I have going. Very good. And I've got countdown 1, 10, 9, 8 all the way to 1, countdown 2, 10, 9, 8 all the way to 1. And it says outside of the inner loop, print I love CS. Okay, so I'm going to get outside of these loops and do a system.out.println I love CS. 2 exclamation marks. Run this one more time just to test it. And got countdown 1, countdown 2, and I love CS. All right, click finish. This next level is asking me to, so it says your character has decided to visit space. In characterStory.java, so flow over to characterStory.java, add the following to the show space method. So I'm going to find, Control F, show space. Okay, so I'm in the show space method. And it says, choose a space PNG image from the manage assets below and display the image as the background of the stage. Okay, so go ahead and look at the manage assets and find a space image that you like. And we're trying to draw this as the background. And we've done this a number of times. The latest time that I have done this was drawing the ocean image as my background. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to borrow that for my show space method, okay? And instead of displaying ocean 0, 1, what I'm going to display is space 0, 1, okay? It's still, the x and the y are 0, 0, the width and the height are MyStage.getWidth and getHeight, and I'm not rotating it. Okay, I'm going to minimize these instructions just a little bit. Step number 2 says use Soundloader.read to create a double array called space sound. Okay, so it asked me to create a double array. So a double array, its name is space sound, and I'm needing to use the Soundloader.read method. And if we remember this, it takes in a string, specifically the one that they're asking us from the space.wave file. So I'm going to feed that into the parameter. And it says choose at least 5 planet PNG images from the manage assets. So again, go ahead and take a look at the planet images that you'd like to use and create a string array called planets. So I'm underneath this comment where I have to create an array of planet images. So I'm going to do a string array. Its name is planets. It's going to be equal to, okay, and I'm going to do planet01.png, and I forgot my curly brace up front. Put it at the back, and I'm going to copy planet01, and I'm going to paste that and just change the names. So I did it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times. Okay, and make sure that I have a semicolon at the end of this command. Okay, planet01, planet02, 3, 4, and change my last one to 5. Okay, so I think I'm done with number 3. Let me read it one more time. Choose at least 5 planet PNGs from the manage assets below. Create a string array called planets that contains the names of the planets that you choose. Display the image of your character. Okay, that's step number 4, displaying the image of your character. Again, I've done that a number of times. I'm going to go find out where I did do that again, and I'm going to borrow it from up above where I use the mystage.draw image, my character. Flow back down. Step number 5, it says use nested loops to display the planet images from the planets array. Okay, so I'm going to do that here. Okay, use nested loops to loop through the array of planets to play the sound and display each planet growing and rotating .r. So it says the outer loop should traverse the planet's image in the planet's array. So okay, I'm going to do a for loop in I equals 0. I is going to be less than planets dot length, and do I plus plus. Open this up. So the outer loop should traverse each planet image in the planet's array. Pause for 0.5 seconds between each planet image showing on the stage. So say, okay, so my stage dot pause for 0. Open up my curly brace, 0.5. And the inner loop, so I'm now ready for the inner loop, and the inner loop should play the space sound using mystage.playSound and display each planet image increasing in size and rotating 10 times. We need to pause for 0.2 seconds between each size and rotation change. So there's a lot going into here, but what I want to focus on right now is that we need to increase in size and rotate 10 times. So what I'm wanting to do, so I'm going to get inside here, this mystage.pause, I'm going to have that after my inner loop, okay, because I want it to pause after I'm displaying each of these planets. So what I want to do is I want to create a rotate variable. So I'm going to say int rotate, and this is going to be my first rotation. Okay, and then I'm going to say while rotate is less than or equal to 10, okay, because I want to rotate this 10 times. So let me go back to the instructions. The inner loop should play the space sound using the myStage.playSound. Okay, make this a little bit bigger so I can copy this. Okay, so myStage.playSound, and I'm trying to play the space sound, which I created up here, that double array space sound, and display each planet image increasing in size. Okay, so I need to display each planet image. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to say myStage.drawImage, and I'm going to say planets at index I. Okay, so this is going to be from the outer loop. This index from the outer loop, I want to draw those. So planets at index I, and I'm going to put it at, oh, I don't know, 50 for the X, 50 for the Y. And in the instructions it says display each planet image increasing in size and rotating 10 times. So what I want to do is I want to make a size variable and an angle variable, because I want this thing to rotate, and this is the angle. So what I need to do though, before I even get into this while loop, is I need to initialize a size variable and an angle variable. So underneath my rotate, I'm going to say int size is going to be equal to 50. So the width and height will both be 50. And my angle, I don't know, ANGLE, let's initialize it to 10. Okay. So we're going to increase in size, and we're going to rotate it 10 times. So let's say underneath, when I draw it, I want this thing to increase the size. So I'm going to say size is going to be plus equal, I don't know, let's increase it by 20. And the angle, which is initialized to 10, and I need to make it an int before I do anything else. And I'm going to say angle plus equals another 10. Okay. All right. And I can't forget, I am basing this while loop off of the variable rotate, so I need to do rotate plus plus. Okay. And then I also need to pause for 0.2 seconds between each size and rotation change. So I'm going to do myStage.pause 0.2. And at this point, I think that I'm ready to test it in my concert. Okay, so I need to call the show space theme in my concert. The last one that I did was show ocean. I'm going to comment that out. Paste show space. Run this, see what kind of errors we get, if any. All right, and we see that our planets are getting larger and rotating as we go along. Mine kind of go off the screen. You can edit it a little bit with the X and Y so you can bring it more to the center of the screen or however you want to bring it. But I'm going to tick finish. And our next level says in soundeffects.java, okay, it says translate your pseudocode to Java to write the shift sound method. So I'm going to flow down to our shift sound method, And this we have done in class. You should have an activity guide that shows you about shifting the sound. With our activity guide, it is asking us to shift the sounds one to the left. Okay, so your elements are shifting one index to the left. So right now I'm returning a double array. The code that they've already given me is another array called new sound. And they just put a 1 in there for the size. But I need the size of this array to be the same size as my parameter that we're feeding in. And its name is samples, so I need to say samples.length. Next I'm going to hang on to that very first index. So if I start to overwrite that first index with what's in the second index, so your first index is index 0, if I place the element from index 1 into index 0, I lose that information, and I don't want to lose it, okay, because what is in index 0 needs to be at the end of my array. So I want to hang on to it, and so I'm going to say double first for the first index, or the first sound from samples is going to be equal to samples at position samples.length minus 1. Nope, I did that wrong. That's where I want to place it at the very end. I want to grab the first index. That's right. Okay, what I put was where it's going to go. So double first equals samples at index 0. Okay, so now I'm going to loop through the array. So I'm going to say for int I equals 0. I is going to be less than samples dot length, but I need to do minus 1. And I'll show you why in a second. And I'm going to go I++. Open this up. And what's going to happen with new sound, so this is the array that I'm going to return. So new sound at index I is going to be equal to samples at index I plus 1, because it's going to be the next one. And so why I had to do samples.length minus 1 in my condition is because if I do I plus 1 at the end of my array, at the last index of my array, I'm going to get an index out of bounds exception. Okay, so the loop is going to roll through that. What I need to do is set the last index to that first element that I have stored in that variable called first. So I need to do new sound at index new sound.length minus 1, and it's going to be equal to first. Okay, so there's our shift sound method, and then it says in character story, add the following to the show space method. Okay, so I need to find the show space method again. It says 1, pause for 2 seconds after the planet's array is displayed. So I'm going to do that here. So my stage dot pause for 2 seconds. And it says call your sound effects dot shift sound method on space sound. Okay, so I'm going to say space sound is now going to equal sound effects dot shift sound on space sound. So I'm resetting what space sound is by shifting all of the elements one index to the left, and it says play the space sound array again. So we played it once, and so we can hear what the original sound sounds like. And I am just going to steal that code. So find it where it says my stage dot play sound space sound, and I'm going to paste it here right after I have shifted it all. Okay, pause for 2 seconds to let the sound play. So I'm going to say my stage dot pause for another 2 seconds. And it's at this point where we should test it, make sure that we don't have any errors, fix them if we do. All right, and you should have heard your sound, your space sound. It kind of sounded like it was sped up to me, but it was just because we have shifted everything to the all the elements one index to the left. Okay, I'm going to click finish. And it says, time to create the final scene of your concert. Your character has decided to return home to be with their friends and family. In character story, add the following to the show home method. So I need to go Control F, show home. And I'm in the show home method. And it says, display the image of your character's home as the background of the stage. So we have created a background with this draw image. So I'm just going to copy that from above. But instead of that space, we have stored in an index variable character home. So I'm going to copy that and bring it down. And instead of this space PNG, I'm going to display my character home. Okay. Then it says use the Soundloader.read to create a double array called home sound from the home wave. So I need to make a double array, call it home sound. It's going to be equal to, using the Soundloader class and the read method from that class, I need to give it a parameter of that home.wave, which is a string. Step number 3 says create an animal array with at least 5 animal objects. I know I've already done this from a previous lesson, so I'm going to go back and find that array of all the other animals that I've done. And this was the show friends method from lesson 5. So I'm going to grab that and just borrow it, okay? And the animals that I created were a chicken, a cow, an elephant, a horse, and a monkey. And I stored it in an animals array. And I'm just going to leave it named animals. So create an animal array with at least 5 animal objects. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're good there. And then it says play the home sound array using the mystage.play sound. Okay, so I'm going to play the home sound array that we created from above. And it says display the image of your character on the stage. Okay, so I know I did this in the previous method, so I'm going to show my character again, mystage.drawImage, borrow that code, display the image of my character. Okay, and now it gives me a list of available animals if I wanted to change any. I don't want to change any. And then it asks me to test my concert with the show home method. So I'm going to go back to my concert, comment out show space, and I'm going to show home, click run, see if there's any errors. If they are, let's fix them. And there's my character at home with the home sound. And I'm done with this level. We'll click finish. And the last level asked me to, in soundeffects.java, translate your pseudocode to Java to write the reverse sound method. Okay, so I'm coming here to my reverse sound method. Again, it gives me a double array. It's called reverse. I need it to be the same length as samples.length. And what I want to do with this one, so I'm going to make a for loop, and I'm going to say int I is going to be equal to 0. I is going to be less than samples.length I++. And during class we talked about this algorithm. There's several ways to do this, but here is one way. What I want to do is in reversed array at index I. Okay, so if we're using the 0 index, for example, I want it to be the very last index in the samples array. So I'm going to set it equal to samples at index samples dot length. If I left it at dot length, it would give me out of bounds. But if I subtract 1 from it, it's going to give me the last index. But that would always be constant. I need to use my incrementation variable I in this also. So if I subtract I in this example, right, if this is my last index, say my length is 5, my last index would be 4. So samples.length is 5 minus 1 is 4 minus 0, because right now int I is 0. It would still be 4. 5 minus 1 minus 0 is 4. But in the next iteration, at index 1, because I would iterate from 0 to 1, so reversed at index 1 is going to be equal to samples.length, in my example I just gave was 5. 5 minus 1 is 4, minus 1, because I had indexed. 5 minus 1 is now going to be 3. And so that is going to decrease every single time, and this is going to increase every single time. And then we'll iterate all the way through, we'll return reversed, and we should have a completely reversed array. Okay, I'll go back to, says in character story, add the following to the show home method. So I'm going to the show home method again. I'm going to go show home. It says pause for 3 seconds after your character is displayed. Okay, so my character is displayed. I'm going to say mystage.pause for 3 seconds. Create a new double array called new home sound. So a double array called new home sound that gets the result of the call to your sound effects reverse sound method, where we feed in home sound. And then it says play the new home sound array. So I'm going to say mystage.play sound new home sound. Pause for 3 seconds to let the sound play. So I'm going to say mystage.pause for 3 seconds. And then it says traverse the array of animal objects using their speak method to play their sound and their show method to show the animal on the stage. So underneath this comment, I need to loop through. So for int I equals 0. You know, I'm going to do an enhanced for loop. So I'm going to say animal A in the animals array. And I'm going to do a dot speak and a dot show, and pause for 0.5 seconds. So my stage dot pause for 0.5 seconds inside the loop. We'll test this, see if we have any errors, if we need to fix anything. And we're done with this level.